When you think about modern football superstardom, there's kind of this unwritten script, right? Flashy cars, huge mansions, a life that's basically one big Instagram post. But what if a player earned an absolute fortune and just said no thanks to all of it? Today, we're diving into the incredible story of Sadio Mané, a man who didn't just build a fortune, he used it to build something so much bigger. Okay, let's just start with a number, a huge one. 40 million pounds. That's Sadio Mané's annual tax-free salary at Al-Nassr. That puts him right up there with the highest paid athletes on the planet. It's the kind of money that can buy literally anything you can imagine. But what he chooses not to buy, well, that's what makes his story so amazing. And this quote reveals the whole paradox of Sadio Mané. On one hand, you've got this $40 million salary, and on the other, a total rejection of all the stuff that's supposed to come with it. This isn't just some nice thing he said once, it's the actual philosophy that guides his entire life and makes him one of the most unique people in sports today. All right, so that brings us to our first big question, what we're calling the $40 million question. Why would someone with this kind of wealth actively turn their back on the luxury that usually comes with it? It's a question that honestly makes you rethink what success even means. So how do you explain it? This massive disconnect between the money he has and the life he lives? Well, the answer isn't in his bank account. Not at all. We've got to go back, way back. The journey from the dusty fields of his childhood village, that's what shaped his values and explains the man he is today. So let's do that. Let's dive into his journey in our second section, the path to glory. This is the story of how a young boy from Bombali, Senegal, slowly and surely built not just a fortune, but a global reputation through pure talent and unbelievable discipline. And here's the thing about his career. It wasn't some overnight explosion. Nope. It was this steady, really smart climb. From a humble start at Metz in France, every single move was a step up. Red Bull Salzburg, Southampton, Liverpool. Each move was a bigger challenge. And, yeah, a bigger paycheck, building the foundation for the superstar he was about to become. And just look at how his value went through the roof. I mean, a €4 million transfer to Salzburg, that blows up to a massive $34 million when he moves to Liverpool in 2016. That made him the most expensive African player in history at the time. These aren't just numbers on a page, they're proof that he had arrived at the very, very top of the game. Now, his time at Liverpool, that was the absolute peak. We're talking 120 goals, winning everything you can possibly win, the Champions League, the Premier League, his salary shot up, and yet even as he reached the absolute pinnacle of the sport, his humble lifestyle, the one he learned back home, it didn't change one bit. And that brings us perfectly to our next section, the home he built, because this is where we shift from what he earned to what he actually created with that money, starting with a project that tells you everything about what he truly cares about. Think about it. With all that money, he could have built a palace anywhere in the world. But his choice says everything. He didn't build some isolated mansion in a fancy neighborhood to show off. He built his home right in Bombali, his childhood village, for community and family. Every part of it was designed not to be flashy, but to be practical and welcoming. I mean, if you took a quick tour of this place, you'd get it instantly. The whole ground floor is a huge open space, perfect for hosting big family dinners. The first floor is just packed with guest rooms, not for show, but for the constant stream of relatives and friends who come to visit. Even his own private space on the second floor is designed to keep him close to everyone. It's a home that's meant to be shared. So here's the bottom line. Yeah, it's the biggest, most modern building in the village, for sure. But it wasn't built to say, look at me. It's a magnet. It's a central hub designed to pull his family, his friends, and his entire community closer together. And that commitment, it doesn't just stop at his front door. It extends way, way beyond. So let's zoom out a bit in section 4 and look at his wealth with a purpose and the huge projects he's funding that are changing everything for his people. So get this. We're talking over £1 million. That's what Mané has personally poured back into his hometown of Bombali. But really, it's not even about the amount. It's about where that money goes and the incredible, life-changing impact it's having. And the results? They're literally transforming the place. He built a hospital, and this was super personal for him because he lost his own father to an illness that could have been treated. He funded a high school, a post office, a stadium. He even gives a monthly payment to local families and brought 4G internet to the whole village.
These aren't just handouts, They're the actual building blocks for a better future.
And you better believe this kind of work doesn't go unnoticed. Back in 2022, he got the very first Socrates Award, a huge honor at the Ballon d'Or ceremony that basically said, hey, this guy's greatest work might just be happening off the pitch. So, what kind of person actually does all this? Who is the man behind it all? In our final section, we're going to look at that, a life of quiet discipline. We'll explore the private person and the daily habits that power his very public generosity. Well, the man behind the money lives this, remarkably simple life. He's a total family man, devoted to his wife and daughter. His whole routine is just discipline. Early prayer, training, family time. That's it. He stays away from the nightlife, and he's always going back to his village. Not as some big superstar, but just as a son, sitting around, chatting with old friends. The guy you see in public, that's the real deal. Even his garage tells you everything you need to know. There's no fleet of Ferraris, just a practical Audi he takes to training, and a fancy Bentley that, from what we hear, he barely ever drives. It's like the one small nod to the crazy wealth he's earned. In every choice, it's practicality over showing off. And all of this, it really brings us to the heart of Sadio Mané's whole journey. From that small village in Bombali to the world's biggest stages and right back home again. His life just screams this simple, powerful truth. Real wealth isn't what you have, it's what you give. So, in the end, Sadio Mané's story kind of leaves us all with a question, doesn't it? It pushes us to think past just money and fame, and to think about our own impact. It makes you look at what you have, whatever that might be, and ask yourself, what's the most lasting thing we can build?